The $5 billion Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam, towering on the Blue Nile, promises to revolutionize Africa's energy future. But its colossal impact on the region's water supply could ignite a battle for control over the lifeblood of nations. As Ethiopia pushes ahead, Egypt and Sudan brace for a potential geopolitical storm that could reshape the course of the Nile forever. In the central region of East Africa, the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam is swiftly taking shape along the Blue Nile, representing a significant advancement in Ethiopia's pursuit of economic growth and energy self-sufficiency. With an estimated cost of $5 billion, the GERD is poised to become Africa's largest hydropower initiative, capable of producing over 6,000 megawatts of electricity. For Ethiopia, this monumental dam signifies the dawn of a new developmental phase, offering essential power to millions, generating employment opportunities, and promoting industrial progress. However, its construction has sparked intense geopolitical tensions, particularly with neighboring countries Egypt and Sudan. These nations have historically depended on the Nile River for their freshwater needs, with Egypt being almost entirely reliant on the river to support its population and agricultural activities. As Ethiopia continues with the dam's construction and the filling of its reservoir, the stakes have escalated. Egypt has voiced significant apprehensions that the dam may drastically diminish water flow, jeopardizing the livelihoods of millions of Egyptians and potentially leading to regional instability. Sudan finds itself in a precarious situation, balancing the potential advantages of a regulated water supply against the threats the dam poses to its own infrastructure and existing dams. With negotiations at an impasse and tensions escalating, the GERD has evolved into more than merely an infrastructure project. It has become a representation of the struggle for dominance over one of the globe's most precious and contested water resources. The current circumstances have ignited a wider discussion regarding the future of the Nile River and the management of Africa's shared resources amid rising population pressures, climate change, and political tensions. Will the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam, which means GERD, serve as a driving force for collaboration, uniting the nations within the Nile Basin to equitably distribute the river's waters? Alternatively, could it escalate into a source of conflict, jeopardizing peace and stability? As Ethiopia advances with its ambitious initiative, global attention remains focused, aware that the results may significantly influence both the future of the Nile and the geopolitical dynamics across Africa. Number 1. The Grand Nile Dilemma: Africa's $5 billion mega dam and its impact on regional water flow. The Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam represents a significant and contentious $5 billion megadam project currently under construction on the Blue Nile River in Ethiopia. This extensive infrastructure initiative has sparked considerable apprehension across the Nile Basin, primarily due to its potential impact on the natural flow of the Nile River. The Blue Nile is a crucial source of water, supplying the majority of the Nile's flow and supporting the livelihoods of millions, especially in Egypt and Sudan, where it is essential for agriculture, industry, and drinking water. While the primary objective of the GERD is to produce electricity to meet the demands of Ethiopia's rapidly expanding population and economy, its construction poses a risk of disrupting water supplies to downstream nations, particularly Egypt, which relies heavily on the Nile. For Egypt, which depends on the river for approximately 95% of its freshwater resources, the dam poses a significant threat to its water security. This situation creates a complex challenge of reconciling Ethiopia's developmental aspirations with the critical need to maintain the Nile's water flow for the survival of millions in Egypt and Sudan. The issue is further complicated by political tensions as Ethiopia asserts its right to exploit its resources for national advancement, while Egypt argues that any decrease in its water supply could have devastating consequences for its agricultural sector and population. This overarching dilemma also raises intricate questions about fair water distribution, legal entitlements to shared resources, and the need to harmonize development with the sustainable management of transboundary rivers. Number 2. New African megadam to disrupt the Nile's natural course. What's at stake? The Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam signifies a pivotal change in the utilization of the Nile River, with implications that could profoundly affect its natural flow. Traditionally, the Nile has traversed from the Ethiopian highlands through Sudan and Egypt, ensuring a reliable and consistent water supply. The extensive reservoir of the GERD, anticipated to retain billions of cubic meters of water, is poised to disrupt this established flow, especially during the dam's filling period. This initial phase may result in diminished water flow downstream, raising alarms in Egypt and Sudan regarding their water availability. The implications extend beyond mere alterations in water volume. The dam has the potential to modify the seasonal flooding patterns that have sustained agriculture for generations. In Egypt, these seasonal floods are vital for enriching the soil with essential nutrients. Any interference with this natural rhythm could adversely impact crop production, threatening the food security of millions of Egyptians. Additionally, alterations to the river's flow may negatively affect fish populations and aquatic ecosystems reliant on the Nile's natural cycles. The downstream repercussions of these changes could be considerable, leading to both environmental and socio-economic challenges. Moreover, the political ramifications are significant, as the involved nations confront the potential erosion of their control over a shared natural resource. Egypt, in particular, faces critical challenges due to its dependence on the Nile for nearly all of its freshwater requirements. If the river's flow is diminished or its natural patterns permanently altered, the consequences could permeate every facet of Egyptian society, impacting agriculture, industry, and even drinking water supplies. Number 3. Rising tensions. How Africa's $5 billion megadam could alter the future of the Nile River. As the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam approaches its completion, regional tensions have escalated, potentially leading to significant changes in the future of the Nile River. The dam's construction has exacerbated long-standing conflicts regarding the utilization and governance of the Nile's waters, with Ethiopia facing opposition from both Egypt and Sudan. Historically, Egypt has maintained a near monopoly over the Nile's water resources due to agreements established during the colonial period, perceiving the dam as a threat to its national security. There are concerns that any alteration in water flow could jeopardize its agricultural sector and challenge the needs of its growing population. The diplomatic discussions among Egypt, Sudan, and Ethiopia have highlighted the rising tensions, as the three nations struggle to establish a binding agreement regarding the dam's management. Ethiopia argues for the dam's necessity in fostering its development and economic progress, while Egypt insists on the need to uphold its water rights as outlined in prior treaties. Sudan, while recognizing the potential benefits of the dam's electricity generation, also expresses apprehensions about its implications for its own water supply and the overall stability of the regional water-sharing framework. As negotiations remain stalled, there is an increasing concern that the situation may lead to further instability in the region. The GERD represents not only a critical issue of water allocation, but also a symbol of national power and sovereignty. The surrounding tensions are intricately linked to national pride, political dynamics, and the Nile's role as an essential resource for millions. The future of the Nile River, once regarded as a stable and reliable resource, now faces significant threats. And the resolution of this dispute will have lasting implications for the geopolitical landscape of the region for years to come. Number 4. The $5 billion megadam controversy. Will it block the lifeblood of the Nile? The Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam has emerged as one of the most contentious infrastructural initiatives in contemporary African history. The primary source of contention revolves around the potential impact of the dam on the water flow that is vital for both Egypt and Sudan. Ethiopia's pursuit of hydropower development has ignited discussions regarding the equity and sustainability of such projects, particularly when they influence downstream nations reliant on the same water resources. Egypt, which relies almost entirely on the Nile for its water supply, perceives the dam as a looming disaster. Egyptian authorities have cautioned that even a minor decrease in water flow could have catastrophic effects on the nation's agricultural output, food security, and the ability to fulfill the basic needs of its citizens. For Sudan, the dynamics are more intricate. While the country stands to gain from the electricity generated by the dam, it also harbors concerns about the potential repercussions of diminished water flow and alterations in water quality, which could adversely impact its agricultural and energy sectors. This dispute raises essential questions regarding the rights to utilize shared natural resources. Ethiopia, facing a burgeoning population and urgent developmental needs, contends that it is entitled to harness the Blue Nile, which originates within its borders, to support its economic growth. Conversely, Egypt and Sudan view this as a breach of long-standing agreements that have historically ensured them a greater share of Nile water. The implications of this controversy are profoundly significant, as mismanagement could result in severe freshwater shortages for millions, threatening the stability of the entire region. Number 5. Africa's ambitious megadam, a new chapter in the Nile's disputed waters. The construction of the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam signifies a pivotal moment in the enduring conflicts surrounding the Nile River's water resources. Historically, Egypt has maintained dominance over the majority of the Nile's waters, a situation largely established by colonial-era agreements that prioritized its interests. However, the GERD represents Ethiopia's challenge to these entrenched power structures, as it asserts its right to utilize the river's waters for its own developmental needs. This mega-dam embodies Ethiopia's aspirations to alter the regional power dynamics, particularly regarding water rights and access to energy resources. For Ethiopia, the GERD transcends mere hydropower generation. It symbolizes a quest for autonomy and self-sufficiency. As one of the world's least developed nations, Ethiopia aims to leverage its natural resources to elevate millions from poverty and fuel its rapidly expanding economy. The dam is expected to generate substantial electricity, which can be utilized domestically or exported to neighboring countries, thereby enhancing Ethiopia's energy sector and fostering regional economic cooperation. Conversely, for Egypt, the dam poses a significant threat to the historical water rights it has long relied upon. The Nile is essential for Egypt's existence, and any alterations to its flow raise serious concerns regarding national security and sovereignty. Sudan, positioned between these two influential nations, faces its own challenges, weighing the potential advantages of the dam's electricity against the risks to its water management systems. Consequently, the construction of the GERD signifies a transformation in the geopolitics of the Nile, and may lead to a re-evaluation of how shared natural resources are governed throughout Africa. Number 6. Environmental and political fallout. The $5 billion megadam and its impact on Nile Basin countries. The environmental and political implications of the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam are extensive and may lead to significant repercussions for the countries within the Nile Basin. From an environmental perspective, the dam is set to fundamentally change the flow and characteristics of the Nile River, impacting ecosystems throughout the river's course. The process of filling the dam's reservoir may temporarily diminish water flow, raising immediate concerns regarding agricultural output in Egypt and Sudan, where millions depend on a reliable water supply for irrigation. Furthermore, the dam could interfere with the seasonal flooding that has historically rejuvenated the soil in the Nile Delta, thereby jeopardizing food security in Egypt. On the political front, the GERD has emerged as a contentious issue among the Nile Basin nations. Both Egypt and Sudan have expressed their concerns, with Egypt asserting that any decrease in its water allocation would threaten its very existence. The dam also presents challenging issues related to the governance of shared transboundary resources and the necessity for just and equitable water sharing agreements. As the political ramifications of the GERD continue to develop, the region may encounter a new wave of instability, as nations strive to protect their water rights, potentially igniting conflicts over access to this essential resource. Number 7. How Africa's mega hydroelectric dam could change the Nile's flow forever. The Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam possesses the capacity to significantly alter the flow of the Nile River for future generations. The dam's vast reservoir is designed to hold billions of cubic meters of water, which will modify the river's seasonal flow dynamics, particularly during the initial filling period. This alteration may lead to a decrease in the volume of water reaching downstream regions, potentially resulting in serious repercussions for agricultural practices and water resources in both Egypt and Sudan. Additionally, over time, the dam may influence sedimentation processes that are vital for sustaining soil fertility in Egypt's Nile Delta. The enduring modifications to the river's flow could disrupt the ecological equilibrium of the entire Nile system. Fish species reliant on the river's natural flow may face challenges, and the fragile ecosystems within the river's delta could be adversely affected. Moreover, as the dam continues to manage water flow, it may establish a permanent transformation in the river's operational dynamics, complicating the ability of downstream nations to depend on consistent water availability. This situation is particularly alarming for Egypt, which relies almost entirely on the Nile for its water needs. Any persistent changes to the river's flow could have significant long-term implications for Egypt's economy and lifestyle. Number 8. The battle for the Nile. Exploring the $5 billion megadam's potential to block the river. The development of the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam has ignited what can be characterized as a struggle for control over the Nile River, with Egypt, Sudan, and Ethiopia competing for access to its essential waters. For Egypt, which has historically held a dominant role in the regulation of Nile's waters, the dam represents a considerable challenge to its established rights. The nation is apprehensive that the dam will diminish its water allocation, jeopardizing its agricultural sector and threatening its very existence. Conversely, Ethiopia views the construction of the GERD as a demonstration of its entitlement to harness its own resources. The dam is pivotal to Ethiopia's aspirations for economic advancement as it aims to supply electricity to millions and potentially export energy to neighboring nations. However, the possibility of obstructing the river remains one of the most contentious issues surrounding the dam, as Egypt perceives it as a fundamental threat to its survival. Here we have reached the end of this video. What are your thoughts about this mega project? Share with us in the comments below. If you like our content, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Till the next time, take care.